Hey everybody, it is Mica in the flesh today, and today I'm going to be talking about Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen, and the old school MMO. So I often think that when we're talking about the old school MMO and how great that whole experience was, people who are either new to the genre or just couldn't cut it in the old world, so to speak, think what we're talking about is that we miss these crazy grinds and the months and sometimes year-long struggle to level cap or putting hours, days, weeks, and months into a dagger. And when we are looking to scratch that old school itch, what we're doing is just remembering the pain and suffering with these fantastic rose-colored glasses. But that's not really what old school games were about. That's not what we miss. That's not what we crave or what we're looking for. I don't know of any old school gamer that's actually going to tell you they miss that grind, or any grind or waiting or competition. A lot of that stems from people hearing about and not experiencing the old school MMO, because those are really negative aspects, things that really sucked about old school games, which tend to stick out in our mind more, especially for people who played but didn't probably understand how to experience these games. And it might be something that's intimidating to people who hear about games like Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen, and the resurrection of the old school experience in a modern MMO. So what I want to do is I want to try to explain what made old school MMOs so good, but in a way that might be a little easier to understand. And I'm going to begin where a lot of people ended, that first month, give or take. So my first MMO was Final Fantasy XI back in the early 2000s. I picked it up because I was a fan of Final Fantasy. I had no idea what an MMO was or what it entailed, and I only tinkered around with it for a few days before I quit. And then it was a few months later that I picked it back up, and I still didn't really have that great of a time with it. But then my other half was like, hey, that looks a lot of fun. Can you get me a copy? Sure, and I did. They installed it and we started playing together, and somehow this game actually got a little better. Then I moved on to the Dunes, and I would chat and laugh and have fun and experience parties, but that honestly was it. I couldn't really do anything else. I was stuck on a fight with a black dragon that was way beyond my capabilities, and I didn't know what else to do. And this honestly was a common theme I heard in a whole lot of leveling parties. So one day, after hearing the same thing again in another party, I said, hey, how about this? After we're done, I'm gonna go back to Sandoria, buy a sack, and we can make our own link shell. And that is how my guild was born. The next day I logged in just like I normally do, but this time I said, hello, and I got 3 hellos back. And then I said, hey, I'm gonna go to the Dunes to level for a bit, does anybody wanna join me? Oh, we're already here, come on down, you can have a spot, our healer's about to leave. Amazing! We continued to level, and over about a week we gained maybe 10 or 20 new people. Then we killed that black dragon, which we were all stuck on. We unlocked sub-jobs, tackled Promethean, Holodem, and May, climbed Delkfut's tower, unlocked airships. Suddenly, this game was fucking amazing. And we kept going. Later we did our limit break quests, climbed the Ottawa Tor, and finally crept into Dynamis, Selvage, Nizel Isle, and Einar Yar. We camped notorious monsters, and honestly, we sometimes lost them to bots. And this was a stark contrast to games and gameplay that some of you are likely only familiar with, because I know the drill. I play modern MMOs. I join guilds, I do quests, I run dungeons in Final Fantasy XIV, I farm primals, I run 24-minute raids, I run high-end raids, I keep myself geared, and as soon as new story quests are out, I complete that too. So what really is the difference outside of these insane waits and grinds and that were part of the old school MMO? Well, if you listen closely, you notice that we played old school MMOs, but I play new ones, and that is the fundamental difference between old and new school MMOs. When we wax poetic about the old school MMOs and talk about the good old days, you will never hear how I did something. You are always going to hear how we did something. Playing MMOs was more about your friends than anything else. Your friends are what made that grind so tolerable, aside the fact that we just didn't know any better at the time. And I think people who have such a horrible memory of old school MMOs were the ones that either didn't really think about the importance of playing with others, who were too shy to put themselves out there, or who just didn't do it well. Because like in real life, if you were a shitty person with a shitty attitude, no one wanted to play with you. And you may say, Micah, I have a guild, I play with my friends every day. And yes, you may do just that. But there's a difference, and this is the part that's kind of hard to explain. This is the part that really needs to be experienced, but I will give you the best analogy I can. Think about it this way. Think about going to a bar or a club or a con or a play or pretty much anything like that. How much fun are you going to have by yourself, or just by saying hi to passersby, or even by just standing there amongst a group of people who you will never probably see again? You can do all the same things, but those things are going to be way better experiences if you go with friends, because those are experiences that are meant to be done socially, not meant to be done on your own. The great thing about older MMOs was the community. The old school experience was a shared one, and that alone is what made it so wonderful. If Pantheon can bring that back without the crazy restrictions and grinds and requirements, it could really change the landscape. Modern MMOs are honestly more like co-ops than massively multiplayer online games. It may be fun to play with others, but you can do it by yourself, so there's really no need to talk to others. I've played Final Fantasy XIV without a guild since midway through Heavensward, so roughly 3 to 4 years now, and I've completed it all. But honestly, I didn't really have too much fun doing so. Unlike single-player games, MMOs as they were designed to be massively multiplayer experiences, where playing with others was the bread and butter. And when they took that away by giving us tools to do absolutely everything without needing to talk to anybody, with classes that can do it all, with duty finders, with dumbed down gameplay, when they gave us anonymity through crossworld, name changes, and level skips, they took away from the experience. I don't have the same excitement or thrill for Eorzea as I did for Vana'diel. Content, gameplay, graphics, and everything else aside, it's a piss poor, boring experience to go at alone, and even with my times in a guild, even while leading a guild, I was still basically doing it alone. Your guild is no longer who you play a game with. It's the people you chat with as you play the game. The shared experience is completely gone. That is what's missing. That's what we're looking for. That is the old school MMO. And that might not be for you, and that's okay. You have pretty much every other MMO to choose from. But if you do come to Pantheon and you want to give it a shot, and I really, really hope you do, it's going to be a culture shock if all you know is the modern MMO. And the one thing that's incredibly important, the thing that's going to help you the most, is that you'll be open to others. You'll be open to help, to learning your role, that you don't be shy. You're gonna run into incredibly toxic assholes. Yes, it's a public space, and you are never, ever in your lifetime gonna get away from those people. Sorry to burst your little bubble, but you will also find incredible people. People who are gonna help you, who you're gonna laugh with, who you're gonna fight with, who you're gonna share your thoughts and your dick jokes with. That is what made these games so damn good. I highly encourage you, if nothing else, to just give Pantheon a shot. If they can deliver what they're promising, it's going to be a whole new experience for a lot of people, and one that is so incredibly well worth having. I still have friends back from that initial link shell that I started back in 2005. How many people in your current guild are you going to say, I know I'm going to be friends with that person in 10 years? That's the old school MMO experience. And if you think I'm wrong, hey, let's talk about it below. If you want to follow me on social media, that is also linked below, and make sure to like and subscribe to keep up with my future videos. But as per the usual, it has been a hoot, and until next time, have fun.